Let me ask you this, Oneness. Just check this. Can you, Oneness, find anything other than oneness? Is there anything above you, Oneness? Is there anything below you? Is there anything to the left or right of you? Can't be. So this actually has to be oneness. And what am I talking to? Myself. Oneness. And you say, oh, I'm just a part of oneness. Which part are you? I'm the nose. No. Oneness doesn't have parts. It's oneness. But what we can notice here is that what we've been talking about is oneness, and we've been talking about oneness for years, but what did we replace that word with? Unknowingly. We've replaced that word with sameness. We've been thinking that oneness was all going to look the same. But oneness looks all kinds of different ways, because this is just the multiplicity of oneness. What this show, this is the content of oneness, and it's constantly changing. Oneness doesn't have a particular shape or form. It's just got, well, it's got nothing. That's the thing of oneness, is that it has no shape unto itself. In other words, there's no center oneness in the middle of everything. There's just these expressions of oneness. And these expressions are certainly different. I wouldn't have married Betsy if she had looked just like this one. She looked quite different, and I was interested in that. So the funny thing is, though, here we see that there's oneness. There's no way out of it being oneness. This has to be oneness. There's nobody can effectively argue that, although I'll shut up for a minute and see if anybody wants to try. All right, no volunteers. So we can't argue the point of oneness, but what happens? We see this and we go, golly, that's great. I love oneness. How do I stay here? How do I keep this? Well, let me ask you this. Who's talking? I mean, I know oneness is not asking oneness how it can continue to have the oneness experience, because this is the oneness experience always. And if you don't like the oneness experience, don't worry about it. It's going to change for you. But it's not really going to change for you. It's just going to change. One of these days, oneness will change and this unit won't even be in it. So they'll see what oneness means. This is the math of one that I'm talking about, because this is where all these geniuses have a problem, is they don't understand the word oneness. They don't understand the math of one. But at bottom, the math of one makes one statement, but it makes it emphatically. And it says that one equals one. It doesn't equal oneness plus something that could discover oneness. There's nothing that can discover oneness when there's only oneness. There's no oneness plus something that can figure it out. Oh, I'm going to figure out one. You can't figure this out. It's unfigureoutable. Even everything that this is pointing toward, everything, it's just unbelievable. The mind cannot contain it. The mind cannot hold it. The thing we use the mind for is so that it can behold it. It can behold itself. And it can see that, but you can't hold it. You don't need to hold it. This is it. It can't go anywhere. This is it. It looks just like this. It sounds just like this. If you eat something, it'll taste just like this. We hear a sound, it'll sound like just like this. I mean, it's just all the way down. It's oneness equals one. I mean, if I put oneness on a spaceship, can it leave oneness? No, because the spaceship is oneness. Not just the people on board. It's not just the astronauts. The spaceship is oneness. How about the sky that it was going to go through? That's oneness. That's oneness with a sky suit on. This is oneness with a Fred suit on. That's a oneness with a Keith suit on. There's only oneness. But the weird part is that even though we know right now that there's nothing but oneness, there's still a sense of personality, isn't there? There's still a sense of something here. There's still the sense of a Fred. Well, let me ask you just a core question. Does the sense of something have to mean the truth of something? That's it. How about virtual reality? It feels true. It looks true. It sounds true. It can feel true. But is it? Is it true? Matter of fact, like I had a hunch this morning that it was going to rain here. But if I look out the window, it's dry as a bone. So that's one hunch of rain shot to hell. The feeling that something is, the hunch of that something is, the idea that something is not the same thing as the truth. See, this is what St. Francis told his disciples when they all woke, when St. Francis woke up. He wanted to share this with them, just like I want to share this with you. But he didn't have all this non-dual stuff to back him up. So he just came up with something simple. And he gathered them around and he said, you know, what you're looking with is what you're looking for. And what are you looking with? You're looking with attention, aren't you? Imagine right now, I'm going to tell you a story that's going to just show you what a sense of something really is. I hope you will listen and just buy into it. Don't fight this story. It's powerful. So we've noticed that there's still a sense of Fred. Do you know there's a mild sense of Fred over here? I don't believe it. It's not true. And I don't have to suffer with it and all that. But there's still a sense of Fred. I mean, there's a sense that there's still a sense that this body has some connection to this. And hell, it's all oneness. So I can't really say it doesn't, but I can say it doesn't have any particular connection. But imagine right now that somebody came to my door and they knocked on the door and I said, come in, and they come in and it's just a man a friend of mine, and he comes in, he says, hey Fred, come on outside. I want to show you the big dog in your front yard. Now, as y'all already know, I love dogs. So I want to see his dog. So I get up and we go and we walk back to the door. And I look out the door, and what I see the yard with the trees and the bushes and the flowers and the grass and all that. I see my friend out there, but I don't see a dog. So I want to see his dog, and I'm a little bit puzzled. So I walk out onto the porch. Now don't have a big front yard. And from my front yard, you can see from my front porch, you can see the whole yard. So I walk out onto the front porch and I look out over there, look out over the yard carefully. And I look out there and I see the same thing I did from inside. I see the trees and I see the bushes and I see the grass and the flowers and all that. but I don't see a dog. So I'm going to give my friend one last shot. So I'm going to try to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'll walk out into the yard, and I'll walk up and down the yard, looking very carefully over and over. And I walk back and forth across the yard, looking very carefully over and over. And finally, I just have to give up. And so I go to my friend and I said, look, man, I don't know if you're crazy or confused or what, but there is no dog in my front yard. And he says, oh, no, Fred, it's a sense of dog. Now, let me ask you something. Is the sense of a dog the same thing as a dog? No. It's just an idea. So, see, there's no Fred in the middle of this unit. That's what you've always thought, is that the real Fred, he's somewhere in there. You don't really logic it out, but just, that's Fred. And he says, says I'm not the body, but if he's not the body, he must be contained in the body, must be contained by the body. Does that mean that the body is bigger than oneness and it contains oneness? Or does it mean just the opposite? It's only oneness that can contain the body. And the oneness contains all bodies. There's just one oneness, and that oneness can be known by another name, which is consciousness. We can just notice what's true here, and what's true here is that there's no Fred. So Fred Davis never could wake up to the truth of God. The only thing that could happen was that the truth of God could, would, and did wake up to the fiction of Fred Davis. So let me ask you this. Have you been waiting for something other than oneness to come along? Because the one thing you knew couldn't be oneness, you didn't know what it was, but you knew what it wasn't, and that was this. Well, when you're oneness and you're waiting for something to come along that's other than oneness, there is nothing other than oneness. So you get this every time. I used to meditate all day, or not all day, but I used to meditate very regularly. But every time when the meditation period was over and I opened my eyes, I was right back in my living room. The body didn't go on cosmic adventures. The body stayed right there in the living room. If there were any cosmic adventures, they weren't Fred's, but don't think Fred was loath to claim them. Fred did claim them. Oh, I had the greatest experience when I was meditating. Well, who is it that was meditating? Oneness was meditating. Oh, wow, that's different. So what was oneness meditating on? What's the only thing that oneness can meditate on? Oneness. What's talking to you? Oneness. When you speak, what's talking? Oneness. There's oneness and only oneness. Listen to this. You probably said this yourself. I said it, so don't be embarrassed. I said it, but only for years and years, only for 24 years. And what I used to say is, well, people come to me now and every week and they say, so Fred, you got to help me here. I understand this thing. I really do. It's just not my experience. And you have it exactly backwards. Oneness is your experience. Always. You just haven't understood it because you didn't know about the math of one. But you do now. The math of one says that oneness equals oneness. One equals one. So in other words, when you said that, oneness was telling oneness that oneness was not having the oneness experience. Is that ridiculous?